My name is Molly, and I'm the events director for Books for Magic, which, if you don't know, is a lovely little independent bookstore just down the block from here. So we are so excited to kick off tonight's event, but before you truly get started, I just have a few housekeeping notes to get out of the way. First off, of course, I want to give a huge thank you to St. Anne's for letting us use their gorgeous space for tonight's event. If you need to use a restroom at any point, they are through the doors on my right, to your left, in the far corner of the next room. There will be time for an audience Q&A towards the end of tonight's conversation, so please start thinking of questions to ask and hold on to them. When it's time to start the Q&A, we'll move this mic into the center aisle, and anyone who has a question is welcome to line up in front of the microphone. I know many of you all picked up a copy of the book when you checked in tonight, but in case you didn't, we have plenty of additional copies of Start Here, as well as Michelle's best-selling memoir, Crying in H Mart, available for purchase also at the table where you checked in. All of both Sohla and Michelle's books have been pre-signed, and Sohla will also be around after the conversation to personalize your books to a specific name. We'll let you know where and when to start signing up for that. Okay, now it is my pleasure to introduce Sohla El-Waylly and Michelle Zauner, who are in conversation tonight to celebrate the launch of Sohla's much anticipated daily cookbook, Start Here. Culinary creator, writer, video producer, and community advocate who has been featured in the New York Times and Bon Appetit and on Food 52 in series Eats. Her on-camera credits include starring in HBO Max's The Big Brunch and the History Channel's Ancient Recipes with Sohla. A Time 100 next on Marie, she lives in the East Village with her husband, 2 dogs, and a cat. As I mentioned earlier, the wonderful Michelle Zauner joins us tonight in conversation. Michelle is best known as the 2-time Grammy-nominated musician, Japanese Breakfast. She's won acclaim from major music outlets around the world for releases like Jubilee and Soft Sounds from Another Planet, and obviously has a fantastic book, Crying in H Mart, which, if you haven't read it yet, what are you waiting for? Okay, that is all for me. Without any further delay, please give it up for Sohla and Michelle.
For being here, and congrats, Sohla, with the baby. How are you feeling? Fine. Great, yeah. Sohla has a 9-year-old daughter and is still here, which is amazing.
You know, she just eats and poops and sleeps, so
Yeah.
it's not that exciting.
Yeah.
It's gonna get rough when she has an opinion.
It sounds like she has a lot of opinions, but maybe doesn't know how to express them quite yet. I hear she's quite vocal. She's a screamer.
So the official definition of colic is when they scream for more than 3 hours a day, for more than 3 days a week, for more than 3 weeks.
I think I'm like past that.
Wow.
I think I'm a colic adult. Yeah, I just thought I would begin asking you about your early life and what made you fall in love with food. What are your earliest food memories?
Well, my mom's a really amazing cook, so I spent a lot of time in the kitchen with her. She worked full time, but somehow put out like a 5-6 course meal on the table. We ate a traditional Bangladeshi food most of the time, and it's kind of similar to Korean in that you have like all these little plates. So rice and dal was at the core, and then everything else is kind of like an addition to it. Like the heart of the plate's the rice. So she would put out a feast every single night, and I was always hanging out in the kitchen with her. But I think the real reason food became so important was because it was the main way we would connect. Because we didn't like click in any other capacity.
Yeah.
But we always had food.
Yeah. Do you find that eating in that way makes you an over-orderer? Because I feel like I'm never satisfied with like one entree because I think I grew up eating many different dishes, and it's very normal for me to order 2 entrees just in case I don't like one.
No, every time we go anywhere, even if it's like the Sohla where you get eggs,
Yeah.
we'll also like split a waffle and pierogies, and everyone's really confused.
You have to combine them, I feel like, to create a full meal.
Yeah, but I'm really lucky because Ham grew up eating the same way.
So you order twice as much both ways, and then there's 4 times as much. Is that great?
I think it's great.
Who is Amu? Is that your mom? Or? Yeah. I thought it was really. What does she think about your cooking and this book?
So they were very skeptical for a very long time, but I think I might have convinced them that I'm not going back to college.
What was the breaking point?
I think it was the big brunch. I think something about immigrant parents being on TV makes me feel very real. And now the book, they're like, the main thing they're impressed by is the size of like, wow, it's really big.
It is a very impressive book.
It fits right next to their encyclopedia.
Oh wow! Were you going for girth? Was that a major goal for you? In your introduction, you write, "I look like someone who would have done well in school." It's the glasses, sharp bob haircut, model minority myth, or some combo of all of the above. And I'm paraphrasing here, but then you say, "The truth is, I always struggled to learn the way I was supposed to learn. I've never been satisfied with being told to just follow the rules. I needed to learn the whys so I could confidently figure out the hows and whats. This stubborn way of thinking ended up being my superpower." How did you use this sort of pedagogy to structure your book?
Well, I feel like a lot of the way I was taught to cook originally was just to follow commands. In my mom's kitchen initially, and then in professional kitchens. Because there isn't a lot of time, so you just have to do what you're told. And then you just have to remember what you're told. And that for me was always really difficult. Like I really failed. I always failed every history class, even though it was my favorite subject. Because I couldn't remember the names or the dates, but I knew everything that happened, and that didn't count. But I think that the other stuff is really what's more important. So it doesn't matter if you remember how many times you need to laminate the pasta dough. I think it's more important to know why. So then you can figure it out in the moment, like the touch and the feel. So I really want to focus on technique instead of giving people recipes that they don't fully understand. I don't want you to remake my recipes. I want you to learn the techniques from the recipes, and then you can go on and make your own recipes. Bake it in.
Yeah. I was struck by how much history and science is in this book. Was that important for you? And it seems like something that you're really interested in, and I find to be a really engaging part of your person when you share food with the world.
Well, I mean, I didn't have a lot of friends, so I just was a nerd.
Yeah.
And
you said you weren't a nerd.
Well, not in the right way. You know what I mean? I would focus too much time paying attention to things that didn't get me good grades. But I just love that stuff, and I think you can't have too much information. Like, I feel like if you know exactly what an egg does, then you know exactly what to do with it. And it's fun, and even if you don't want that info, you can skip ahead and go to the recipes. Use the book however you want.
You went to culinary school.
Mm-hmm.
You went to CIA, and you talk about. You begin the book saying, "Think of this as a one-stop culinary school in a book without years of inescapable jet." What do you feel like? Can you tell us a little bit about your experience in culinary school, and was it worth it, or what do you think people should go into that? I'm curious about culinary school.
Well, all I ever wanted to do was go to the CIA because I grew up watching this show on PBS, like great chefs of the world, and it was always hosted at the CIA with like CIA chefs. So I was like, I held it in such high regard. So I went like very intense and very focused, and I was so prepared. You know, all I did was like read those books, and I did work study while taking classes, so my day would start really early. I worked at a cafe at like 4 a.m. until noon, and then I had class from noon to 8. But the classes don't actually teach you anything. Like, I was so disappointed. As soon as I walked in, I actually just cried because the campus is terrible.
Yeah.
It's really old, and they don't put any money into it, and I really do feel like they're taking advantage of students, and then the classes themselves are really overcrowded. And with culinary school, you learn by doing stuff. Like with food, it's not like a theory. You have to get in there and you have to cook. But they just didn't have enough product or space for us. So like in 2 years of culinary school, I cooked 1 piece of protein and I had to share it with a student. And then like I had a 3-week-long seafood course where I got to open 1 clam.
Oh my god. What are you doing? Just watching?
You're just watching the instructor, and like everyone's taking turns with 1 fish. So it was very disappointing, and I was in debt until like very recently.
So don't go.
I met Anne in culinary school though.
So that's the one building.
That was great. It's like a very expensive way to date.
But worth it.
Yeah, that was worth it.
What do you feel like you brought? I mean, what is part of this book what you wish that you had learned in culinary school? How did you like bring? Why start here?
That's actually exactly how I formatted it. Like I thought about the way I wish I was taught and the way that I think is the easiest way to learn. But it is totally from like my brain. So I think that if you don't want to work through the book in that order, I feel like you should customize it to yourself.
Did you always know that this book was going to be rooted in the structure of like foundational skills? Was this always the theme that you were after?
I don't know.
Was there any pressure to make a book that was more about like your focus on your cultural background?
Oh, I mean, I don't feel like I got that pressure from the publisher at all. Yeah. I don't remember what the original pitch was at all. Do you? There's Tom. Everybody use Sage Tom's shop. I don't remember what the initial pitch was, but it was more on how to cook, and it was immediately from the beginning. It was about 50% pastry and 50% savory, because when I was working on the pitch with my publisher Kitty, who is also here, I couldn't decide between savory and pastry, so it was her idea to do both.
Oh wow! I was wondering if they would have wanted you to split it up because it's such a girthy book.
Yes, they're into the girth.
Not as pro-girth.
Yeah.
I have an early memory of you mentioning that you were really struggling with putting this book together. Did I make that up? Or?
No, of course.
Yeah.
The whole thing was horrible.
What was particularly challenging for you?
Like all of it. All of it was hard. Someone asked me recently, like, what was the best part of making the book, and I was like, none of it. Like, you wrote a book. Is any part of it actually fun?
Yeah, I think so. Small piece of it where it feels like it's going well.
I still don't feel like it's going well.
I think it's going well.
No, I feel like, you can relate that it's so solitary in the beginning.
Yeah.
So I feel like the first year I was just alone in my brain, and I would just write with like Tom. And he would just be like, with every idea, he's like, that's great, that's great, that's great. He never shuts anything down. And then after that, it took a while for everything to like marinate, and then I had a lot of fun once the writing was done, and we got to do the photo shoot, and we got to do the design, because that's when the team comes in.
Yeah.
And then it feels more fun, because I don't like doing stuff alone.
Yeah. Well, walk me through the process of putting this book together. How long did it take to? What do you recall? Like what the first recipe you knew was gonna go in here?
Oh, I know. I know that I worked on the pitch with Kitty for I think 3 months, and then after we sold the book, the outline took about a year. And then I was definitely behind on my deadline. think it was supposed to come out last year. But the outline was very, very thorough and detailed, so once I had that down, the recipe development was like another 6 months, and the actual writing took like 3 months.
How do you get your ideas for what is going to go in there? Did you structure it through these chapters of these specific kind of techniques?
Well, once I figured out what the core techniques were, the idea was for each recipe to teach a technique and then kind of work backwards. And I had a lot of spreadsheets because I wanted to make sure not only were the techniques represented, but I wanted to make sure that different cuisines were represented, and there was a mix of vegetarian and vegan and gluten-free. Like I wanted to make it accessible.
Mm-hmm.
That was like the key throughout. That was like the theme, accessibility. There's a lot of spreadsheets. I don't know if they're covering the walls.
How long did it take to do the photo shoots and the food styling? I just learned that you did the food styling, which was really interesting. I don't know if that's common. Is that common?
I don't know what anybody else does.
Yeah.
The photo shoot was fun.
Yeah.
Okay, that was fun. We did it in 3 weeks in our apartment with Laura Murray. She was a photographer, and then my husband and I were like culinary production kind of props. We kind of did everything, and then we had a culinary assist from Helena Picon, who I worked with on ancient recipes. And I think it was nice having such a small team because we really liked each other, because we were working super long hours in a really small space, and if you don't like each other, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
It was like 12-hour days.
Oh my god.
And I had a plan that we were gonna like have a bottle of wine on the last day, and everyone just wanted to go home.
Was there a particular recipe that was like a real bitch to try to figure out?
I feel like most of them were.
Is there a personal favorite in this book? Which recipe do you eat the most in this book?
There's two. The sweet recipe that I make the most are the lemon bars. It was like my main pregnancy craving, and they're best the same day, so you can make a half batch in a loaf pan and then eat the whole thing. So I recommend that. And then I also really love the lemony potatoes, double lemon.
Yeah.
Because crispy potatoes get all the attention, but these are like braised and kind of jammy and soft and starchy and creamy, and yeah.
They look amazing in the book. I also love the addition of the What the Hell Happened guide, which I had a moment before coming here where I was trying to make a vodka sauce in like half an hour or like 20 minutes before coming here.
How did it turn out?
It turned out really bad. And I was wondering what the hell happened.
Let's talk about it, yeah.
I think that the main issue is that I didn't have any vodka, and I read online that you could use lemon water, and
No.
it tastes. So that's maybe what the hell happened.
Those substitutions online are always so bad. Like they will send you straight to hell.
Yeah, I mean it just tasted like lemon watered down vodka sauce. So I guess that's what happened.
But it was dinner.
Yeah, partially.
So it wasn't a total disaster.
Yeah. And what made you think to do that? And it's really nice to see like when you mess something up that you can go back and there's notes in the book to try to salvage what you've done.
Well, because I'm like online, every time I post a recipe, I get a lot of DMs about things that went wrong, like why did my rice get crunchy, or what's wrong with my eggs, or things like that. And
How do you stay sane with all this?
I don't look at all of them. No. But like it does help me figure out the kind of problems that are happening. So I try to kind of predict what might happen with the recipe. And then a lot of it is also stuff that happened to me in the kitchen or the cross-tester. We did have every recipe cross-tested by Ali Slagle, who's an amazing recipe developer. She works with the New York Times, and she's really good she really knows how to get inside the home cook's head. And she was really great at keeping me in check, because I sometimes forget that not everyone has like 15 sheet trays. It's not even. And so she'll like be like, that's too much equipment, that's too much washing. So Working with her really helped me troubleshoot a lot of the stuff in the book she made for the first time. So she made her first layered cake, which was really exciting, using the recipe. So like I learned a lot from her mistakes, my own mistakes, and the mistakes I hear about online.
Is your relationship with your, how does that differ from your relationship with your editor? What are their sort of roles in, between recipe tester and formal sort of editor that oversees the book?
I don't know, Tom. Well, so Allie worked on individual recipes and gave me notes really about cooking time and making sure things worked, and also just notes on what she thought about flavor. It's always good to have like as many opinions as possible, I think. And then Tom was really about organizing the whole thing. He's like big picture man, to help me figure out where things should go, what order things need to be, where we need to flesh stuff out a little bit. Because I think it's really hard when, since I cook a lot, it's hard for me to know what's obvious and what's not, where I might need to give a little more description and info, and where people, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of Tom's like that eye. He's like, yeah.
Yeah. What were some things that did you have like a pattern of things that you noticed about yourself that Tom alerted you to?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I remember there were like little random tips that he was like, oh, more of those. Like how when you're piping something on a parchment, you use a dab of like whatever you're piping to hold the parchment down.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's a good tip.
That's a good tip. Do you have, you structured the book sort of like with a start here and starting with kind of colder ingredients to get a sense of taste. Is that where you would recommend starting? Or I also wonder what is the sort of loftiest recipe in the book and where we should sort of work towards?
Well, each chapter goes in order from, where all the chapters go in order from easy to hard. And then within the chapter, the recipes go from easy to hard. So each chapter has a hard recipe in it, even the first one. So if you really want to like go for it, just go to the end, I guess.
Yeah.
But if you mess up, go back.
Yeah. What do you think is the hardest recipe in this book?
I think it's the tabik.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because that you really have to. It doesn't matter how good of a cook you are. You have to practice to really get to know your burner and get to know your pan, because I can give you all the visual and auditory and olfactory cues as possible, but it really, really varies. Like when I moved, I had to fully relearn how to make tabik because I had electric burners in my last apartment and I got gas here. So that one takes a lot of trial and error, but I think it's so cool when it comes out great because it's just rice. And it's so impressive.
Do you know how many recipes are in this book?
I don't remember.
You don't you have discussed.
What's your timer saying?
What's up? What's my timer saying? Well, I have like all of these these questions that I've titled this section "Hot Ones."
Are we gonna get some wings?
I wish I brought you wings. I did not bring you wings. I also had this idea where I was gonna take pictures of things in my pantry that I have a lot of and ask you what you thought I should do with them. But my hot ones questions are: you've had a number of experiences with chain restaurants.
Okay.
Your parents ran a Baskin Robbins from your Wikipedia page. You worked. You supposedly worked at an Outback Steakhouse. And you worked at a cheesecake factory when you
That
were
one was brief.
in
I got
college.
fired trying to cook.
But it also said you were doing this while you were studying economics at the University of California. Is this true?
Yeah, you know.
What were you thinking?
I don't know. I was thinking that I needed to do something to pay off my loans.
But this was before culinary school or after?
Oh, it was before. My parents.
Not about working in the Cheesecake Factory, about studying economics. Is what,
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
I didn't want to go to college,
Yeah.
but my parents really wanted me to. So I thought that was the easiest subject. It's not that hard. There's nothing. I don't like reading.
Yeah.
I don't like writing.
I think that you probably have to do those things in economics.
Not as much as if you studied reading or writing.
Okay. Well, out of Baskin Robbins, Outback Steakhouse, and Cheesecake Factory, which is or outside of them, what is your favorite chain? I told you I would be asking hard-hitting questions today.
That's tough. No, because I do love the bloomin' onion. I recently got one.
Is that a Chili's thing?
Or Applebee's? That's Outback. Wait,
That's Outback. Oh, that's right.
I don't. Chili's also has one, but it's a different name. Awesome Blossom and Bloomin' Onion. But I don't remember which one is where. But I got the one from Outback recently.
You went back to an Outback recently.
I got it delivered. Oh my I was just pregnant, guys. Even delivered, it was like from Chelsea and I was in the East Village. It was still so good.
Oh my god.
It really holds up.
Wow.
Somehow still crisp. I don't know how they did
What
it.
did you do there? Were you in the kitchen or?
No, I was a busser.
Oh god.
And the best thing is that most tables, unless it's a big party, don't finish the bloomin' onion. Of course. Just go back there and keep the leftover bloomin' onion.
Wow. And you still are into that?
It's good.
I feel like most of the things that I served when I worked at restaurants are things that are like a joke to me now.
Like what?
Well, you know, like any kind of restaurant week thing is just like disgusting to me. But yeah, we ate a lot of like leftover steaks from like Mexican fusion restaurant, or like I worked in a Mexican fusion restaurant that had like a deconstructed tamale, which I find to be pretty dumb.
Just sauce on the stuff on top.
Yeah, it looks like a banana that was like cut on the side of masa, coins with the stuffing on the side. It was very hard to explain why we were doing that to
I'm sorry, that's nothing compared to a bloomin' onion.
Yeah.
But I still really love the Cheesecake Factory.
Why?
Because when you walk in, it kind of reminds me of like Caesar's Palace.
It does, yeah.
The decor is always over the top, and the menu is huge.
Which is generally a great sign, yeah. What is your order at the Cheesecake Factory?
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I always get a plain cheesecake.
Okay.
I know they have a lot of different cheesecakes, but I like plain.
What was your favorite job in the food industry?
Oh, my favorite was when I worked at Atera. It was in, I think it still exists, it's in Tribeca. And it was a tasting menu only counter place, so it had 14 seats. We only did 2 seatings, so we only served 28 people a night. But the menu was, at that time, like 30 courses. So it was really, really intense. And I was part of like the earlier team, so it was only like 4 of us. There wasn't a big, now it's like, when I last looked it up, they have like a lot of interns. The team has really grown, but working on such a tight team, doing something so difficult, I found really, really fun. The hours were from like 10 a.m. to 1 a.m. That's why I took the job. I loved those hours. And it was just so intense, and you become like really close with everyone you're working with because you just live together. And you learn really quickly in that kind of environment because it's just 24/7 training. So I feel like that's where I learned the most. But I also kind of hated it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like weird.
Why did you kind of hate it? Just
Well, because you
it's
don't
so
know
intense.
you know? Like you come, when we did have 2 days off a week, but you barely have energy to do laundry.
Mm-hmm.
So you just kind of lie on the couch and then before you know it, you gotta go back to work.
So coming from Culinary Institute where you didn't learn anything, where did you go after that?
The first place was Del Posto. And then I went to LA for a little bit and worked at Jose Andres' place, the Bazaar. And then Pak Pak. I don't know, I went to a lot of different places. But you learn a lot more just on the job.
Yeah.
And I think that if you really want to learn, the best thing is just to go to a restaurant and get whatever position they'll give you. And it's probably going to be terrible.
Yeah.
But you'll learn a lot more and you're not getting into debt. So.
Do you have a favorite position in the kitchen?
No, I think the goal for me was always to be able to rotate through all the stations. And then once I did that, I would usually just leave.
It's making a lot of sense to me now that you are really breezing through new motherhood and releasing a book at the same time after working these pretty crazy hours.
They're the same hours.
What is your favorite cookbook and did it influence, how did it influence this book?
Okay, so this isn't technically a cookbook,
Okay.
but it was my favorite book and really influenced the book, Harold McGee's On Food Cooking. It's just like food science. It's really, really dense. I read it once a year, and I learn so much from it every time because it is so dense that you can't get all of it at once, but I love the way he breaks it all down. So my goal was to like do a Harold McGee, but with recipes, and like a little bit, light. Because you don't need all of the science, but some of it's really fun.
Yeah. What is your favorite food city?
This one.
This one.
Yeah.
What is your favorite? Do you dare to tell all the people what your favorite restaurant in New York?
No. I'll never be able to go again.
Is there, what, do you have some faves that you don't mind sacrificing? Do you want to
I really like Il Buco al Montare. It's old, but it's a good one and very solid. And lunch is my favorite move there because they have the best carbonara and they only have it for lunch. And they also have pizza now.
What is your favorite, I wonder if you will sacrifice this as well. What is your favorite place for takeout/delivery, and is it Outback Steakhouse?
Ulu in the East Village. It's a Chinese restaurant. They have really good dim sum and Peking duck, and they have a little New Yorker section with like genuinely the best General Tso's and Kung Pao, and it's very good and very fast.
I hope someone's writing this down because I'm busy. I'd like it for later. What is your favorite New York institution?
Oh, that's a big question.
Yeah, and what is your favorite New York institution, and which one is overrated, would you say?
Oh. I don't know. I should pick
You
one.
have to know.
My favorite New York institution is Veselka.
Veselka.
Yes.
That's a good one.
I love going there. The service is phenomenal, and they really, really take care of the dogs. As soon as we sit down, they bring each dog a bowl of water and a treat, and it's just, the dogs love going there, and they have really good outdoor dining, and it's just phenomenal service.
What's your order there?
I get scrambled eggs with tomatoes and toast.
Right, I've never been there for breakfast. I feel like you are kind of fearless in your hot takes on food trends. You have taken down air fryers and instant pots. You've also recently devastated me when I learned that you can't soften butter properly in the microwave. That was a hard lesson for me to learn. So I wanted to get some hot takes
Okay.
on some food trends.
Okay.
What is your current least favorite food trend?
I really like mortadella, but it's getting overused.
Wow.
There's too much of it out there.
What is a food trend you can actually get behind?
There's a lot of really good NA cocktails everywhere.
That's a good one. And what do you think is the next big thing?
The next big
The next big thing in food.
Whoa.
Food trend forecast.
I think we're gonna see a lot more good vegan food.
Next. What is your latest craving/obsession, and how has it changed since
Lucky Charms.
pregnancy? Lucky Charms. Was it also during when you were pregnant?
So while I was pregnant, I started eating all of like childhood favorites, like where I was craving it. So I tried Eggo waffles, Hot Pockets, Pop Tarts. None of those are any good. Bagel bites are not good.
Bagel bites rule. What are you talking about? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's good.
But the breakfast cereal I really got into, and Lucky Charms is one that it's gonna be a staple in my home now.
Yeah. What is a food that you wish you liked but don't?
I don't know. I'm pretty cool with most things.
Okay. What do you think we should be eating more of?
Seaweed is really fun, and it's especially now with the baby, it's hard to keep fresh produce around, but you can always have dried wakame in your pantry, and a little bit turns into a whole bowl, and make a salad and get your veggies in.
Have you tried miyeok, the Korean seaweed soup?
No.
Chance. There's actually a Korean seaweed soup that you're supposed to eat on your birthday because it's what postpartum mothers are supposed to eat to like kind of replenish their bodies, and it's made with seaweed and like a beef stock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll send you a
Okay.
recipe. What is something that you think we are probably all doing wrong in the kitchen?
Does anyone here still wash chicken?
I do. Don't do that.
No. Okay, when you wash chicken, you're just like spreading the salmonella around.
Okay.
The only way to get rid of it is to just cook it.
Okay.
And also, when you get your chicken wet, it kind of makes it harder to get it like really brown and crispy. What you want to do with the chicken is just pat it dry with paper towels, and then it's good to go. You don't need to wash it. And it's not just me, the CDC tells you not to wash it, the World Health Organization.
I'm gonna start crying. What is your latest culinary discovery?
I don't know how latest it is, but I've been really into Anson Mills oats. I know this isn't very exciting, but these oats are really good. They're stone cut. They're not steel cut. So the Irish cut oats, they're like cut with the blades, so they're thicker and they take a long time to cook. And then rolled oats are steamed, like so they're pre-cooked and then they're rolled, so they don't have as much texture. Stone cut, revolutionary. So it's cut with the stone, so it like kind of cracks and flattens it, but it still has a lot of texture, so it cooks quickly like a rolled oat, but it has the texture of an Irish steel cut oat. Whoa. I have them every day for breakfast.
I haven't seen you this excited. I watched an interview with you where you opened your freezer, and we're very excited to talk about its contents. And I learned from this video that you keep your popcorn in the freezer.
You have to keep it in the freezer.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I also learned that you freeze bread.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about this? Because I think this might be a life-changing piece of information for you. You buy baguettes and you freeze them and you just rebake them so you have them on hand. Is that how that works?
Yeah, because the staling process is halted in the freezer. When you put bread in the fridge, it actually makes it go stale faster. And there's like scientific reasons that I can't remember right now. But when you put it in the freezer, when you thaw it from the freezer, it's like totally fresh. So we always keep our bread in the freezer.
Do you just put it straight in the oven?
Well, so if it's like a loaf, we pre-slice it. Baguettes, we keep whole. And yeah, just throw in the toaster. Just direct. You don't have to do a thing.
Well, what is your latest culinary failure?
I was working on a pumpkin cheesecake recently. So cheesecake, most recipes make in a spring-form pan, and then you wrap the bottom, and you cook it in a water bath. So it like cooks really gently, but I always end up with like a soggy crust. So I didn't like that, so I tried to do it in a regular pan and flip it out, and that doesn't work. You have to use a springform pan. The whole thing fell apart, and then we ate it with a spoon.
Sounds very good. I have just a few more questions, and then we're going to turn to an audience Q&A. I stole this question from another interview, but how would you beat Bobby Flay?
I thought about it. I don't think he's good at dessert, so a souffle, chocolate souffle. I think that would win.
When will that happen? How do we get that done?
I'm sure.
I would love to see you take down Bobby Flay, I think, more than anything.
This is being recorded. We can send this footage to Food Network.
Okay.
Try to make this happen.
Let's get a viral hashtag going. Sohla versus Bobby
Uh-huh.
now.
We should make a graphic like when there's a big fight. And get that trending.
Yeah. If someone could work on that, that'd be great. Who is the better cook, you or him?
We have very different strengths. I don't think there's a better.
What are they?
Dan's better with protein. He's better at like breaking down fish and meat into different cuts and stuff like that. And I think I'm better with produce and grains and stuff like that.
And my last question is, what would be your death row last meal?
Popcorn.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sohla. I think we're going to turn into just a
Good. I'm here. I'm seeing you, both of you. It's very exciting for me. I was just re-listening to an interview that you did on NPR. I can't remember which podcast right now. But you mentioned that you don't specialize in Bangladeshi cuisine. Do you feel like you were reluctant to dig into your own culture's cuisine? And for myself, I'm Cambodian, and I haven't explored a lot of my own cuisine because I just always defaulted to my parents' cooking and never thought that I could do it as well as them. So I don't know if you feel similarly about that.
It's like a complicated thing. I think it's two parts. One is because everyone really wants me to do Bangladeshi food. I'm just one of those people, if you tell me to do something, I won't. So I think that's part of it. And then the other part is I actually don't eat a lot of Bangladeshi food at home because I didn't have the happiest childhood. It brings back all those memories. So I don't want to go there. But now that I have a kid, I want to try and get into it again and build new memories around that food because I really want it to be a part of her life. So I think I'm going to get more into it now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, we're sort of going along those lines. I'm Bengali, and I feel like I really also don't have the best relationship with my mom, but bonded with her through food. So what recipe or recipes are you looking forward to making with your kid, and how are you going to use food as sort of a healing thing with them and yourself?
Well, definitely parathas, because that's something I always made with my mom on Sunday mornings. They take a really long time. I don't know if you've made them. It's like a very loving thing because you're rolling up this dough and laminating it. So that's something I'm looking forward to. And I think that the healing kind of is already starting a little bit. I made a full Bangladeshi brunch just the other day when my father-in-law came, and it was weird. It was those feelings came back, but it's a totally different setting. So I think the more I do it, it'll just get better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, first of all, I want to say that I love you both so much and I'm really happy to be here. Big fan. And I wanted to ask, well, first of all, I love to cook. I've been following your cooking for years now, and I think, with the pandemic, it's sometimes really hard to cook because it feels like you gotta feed yourself again. So I was wondering if you ever experienced cooking fatigue, and if yes, how do you handle it, or what are your go-to meals when you're experiencing that?
I totally do. All the time. So we do get a lot of takeout, especially now with the baby. And then we have a couple of things in our back pocket. We love rice, so a really simple thing is after you steam a pot of rice, throw a bunch of veggies on top, and then it'll build from that residual steam, and then have some eggs, and it's good. And you don't really have to think too hard about it, and it's super nutritious. And I think just rice in general, a quick pilaf with sauteed hot dogs. So, whatever's in the freezer. Anytime there's a nice pot of rice, I feel like I got a good meal.
Thank you.
Hey there. It's definitely an honor to be here. I was in Atlanta in the airport at 8 a.m. this morning, so very excited to come this.
Thank you.
But there was an interview you did ages ago when this whole thing was starting, and I think the comment came up that someone recognized you, said they saw you on YouTube, and you were like, I thought that place was only for fixing toilets. Are you excited how much that's changed from then to now?
Yeah, I think YouTube was always a thing, I just didn't know about it. Because I only would log on when I needed to fix a lamp. So I'm glad that I know what's going on. I feel like I can handle myself on the internet a little better. But I think it is really cool how that nowadays anyone can have a platform. And I think that's why we're seeing so much diverse cuisine. You can log on and learn how to make hand-pulled noodles as well as a really good lasagna. beforehand stuff, so I think it's great. Yeah.
So, thank you so much.
Thanks for coming out.
Hello. I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit about like leading the movement to leave Bon Appetit and how that has gotten you to where you are now.
I don't know. I wasn't trying to do anything. You know, I didn't think anyone was listening. So it was a very big surprise. And I guess I tried to just I got a lot of opportunities and I just tried to do my best to make it feel like I deserved it.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
This is very, I just want to start by saying this is very cool. Thank you so much for doing this. This is cool. I've made your recipes, I've learned your songs, and been to your shows. Yeah, it's really cool. It's just weird that you're here just having a conversation. Anyway, my question is very short and simple. Where should I eat after this? Nearby.
I don't know where we are. You know where we are?
All I know is that your home just got Chipotle earlier. You should send them to Outback Steakhouse.
I don't
You can say Outback.
leave my 2-block radius.
Okay.
But if you want to go to the East Village, you could go to Veselka. Or Tabe Tomo.
Tabe Tomo.
That's right next to Tompkinsburg Park, and they got really good fried stuff and dip ramen.
Amazing. Perfect. Thank you.
What does Ingus? Ingus?
Ingus, cool.
Sorry, I had to write that down. My parents live in the East Village. First, I want to say that every new parent is a superhero. You're doing a great job. No matter what's going on, you're doing a great job. And so, I was cooking your orchetti and collards and beans recipe today, but I had to cut it short and throw everything in the fridge to get here on time. How do I salvage that when I get home?
Oh, it's gonna be fine.
Toss back the pot.
Since it's like a stewy thing, you can't go wrong. Just heat it back up, and is the pasta already in there?
Pasta is sitting in the broth.
Perfect. That's even better. Because that means it'll have even more time to hydrate, so it'll cook even faster. So just put it in a little bit later than you would have normally.
I was worried it would turn into mush. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my question follows a very familiar prompt, but we're in a church and I don't know the audience reading, so I'm not going to say the word, but it's an F, Marry, Kill. And it's fats themed, so F, Marry, Kill with butter, olive oil, and veggie oil.
Oh, kill veggie oil. Marry butter. And F, olive oil.
Sohla, I really enjoy your videos, like with New York Times cooking and the ancient history cooking.
Thank you.
It's gingerbread stuff and the 1-hour things with ham. I was wondering if the parameters of any one of those challenges, like formats, has taught you something valuable or unique.
Well, the 1-hour challenges are really fun because I don't cook at that pace anymore.
Yeah.
So it's exciting to see that I still can. And it's really cool because it kicks us into instinct mode because there's no time to think. So it just made me realize when I trust my gut, it's gonna be fine. So
Yeah.
I really love doing this.
Sweet. All right.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm a huge fan. I started watching your videos since Serious Eats videos. And
Whoa.
they're really cool. Especially the one with Stella in the Union Park Green Market Challenge.
Oh
A
yeah.
long time ago.
That's a throwback.
Yeah. Anyway, my question is, I love cooking with vegetable and produce, but somehow my fridge has a superpower of turning everything into mold. Is there any trick that you have for structuring your meals around vegetables so I use them quickly, or fridge vegetable storage tips?
Well, I think the main thing is as soon as you get your veggies, you want to wash everything immediately. Because the stuff that makes them go bad is like the bacteria that's living on it. So when you wash your things right away, it will keep longer. And then wrap everything in towels. So because you want it to be a little bit damp, but not wet. If you put it in a bag, it'll just like suffocate and get really moldy. And I find that when it's already washed, it's just like easier to cook. And then think about the order in which things are going to go bad and eat it in that order. So always eat your greens first, and then move into the heartier things like winter squash or cabbage lasts forever. So that's always like the last thing you go for. But just I think the biggest thing is to process everything right away, and then you're going to dip into it.
Thank you.
We just have time for two more questions, unfortunately, so we'll do these.
Great, thanks for cutting it off there.
Sorry.
So just how you talk, especially today, it reminds me of how people talk about a PhD and how they just really love all the learning they do, but they hate a lot of the process. And especially with like your disappointing culinary school and how this book, to me, really reads like a dissertation. Do you have any like dreams or hopes of like educating, like being an educator?
I don't have the consistency for that. Like to go somewhere every day, like all the time. I love that. Like I can have days where I don't even need to get out of bed till noon. The discipline it takes to come in to a classroom every single day, I don't have that. This is as close as I'm gonna get. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, first of all, love the book, all your work and everything you do. Also, Michelle, loved your book. So, crazy I'm speaking to both of you. But my question is, I've been in the food industry for a bit now. Actually, I work at Terra, so that was cool. And I did not know you worked there, so I was like, wow, crazy. But I'm trying to break more into the food media industry, so I want to know if you had any advice for that.
I guess the easiest way is to post online, like Instagram or TikTok or YouTube. And the most important thing with all that is just be consistent. So figure out a style that you can easily pull off. So like, maybe that means just like an iPhone and a tripod. If you want to commit yourself to like getting fancy mics and things like that, just make sure you can pull it off all the time. Because it's really just about consistency.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, before we all get out of our seats, I just have a few quick reminders. Well, first off, thank you to everyone who came out tonight. Thank you to all of you who asked such amazing questions. Thank you, of course, to Michelle for moderating tonight's conversation. Pre-signed, but Sohla will be sticking around to personalize your books. That's going to be happening at a table in the next room through these doors. So we're going to ask that you all line up down the aisle on this side of the room. And if you want to just stop before you get to the door so Sohla has time to get in there and get settled, that would be great. Obviously, we